Well, that was great. Perhaps I think we have Sarah Rees online with us. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Are we able to hear? Are you able to hear us? Hello, Sarah. Are you able to hear us? Come back to Sarah a little later. But you know, Sarah called for shipping emissions collaboration. Perhaps we've had such terrific collaboration on shipping in the past. Perhaps you can say something.
Yes, well, sure, because I think the emissions from vessels in Hong Kong has already become, I think the largest emitter. Because in the past years, we have been successfully reduced the emission from power stations and also the motor vehicles.
Yes.
Yeah. And therefore, we are working with Guangdong on how to further reduce the emission from vessels. Well, I think just from last year, we started to develop the first what we call the domestic emission control area in this region.
That's right.
For all the ports in Guangdong and Hong Kong, we impose a requirement to require all those vessels coming into the region to switch to low sulfur fuel. Yeah, and now we are also working on using new technologies to monitor and to control those emissions. And we are testing using the flying drones technology, etc. Yeah. And therefore, we will work together harder and more on how to reduce emissions from vessels. Yes.
Right, that's terrific. Yeah. I'm just wondering whether we're able to hook on to Sarah right now. Hello, Sarah, are you able to hear us? Okay, well, perhaps we can go on to Jeannie. Jeannie, you know, you're such an expert on energy and decarbonization issues. And, you know, Dr. Zhou, he gave us a really terrific presentation. Perhaps you can share some thoughts with us.
Sure. I think, you know, when we think about air emissions, the sources quite often, they create both air emissions and greenhouse gas. So yes. I think the point of having solutions and thinking of solutions that could tackle both at the same time, of course, is going to be, you know, very, very important moving forward. And at least in the energy space, we already know about renewable energy, the role of how battery storage, for example, can help with that, but also hydrogen. You know, the concept that, you know, the zero carbon liquid or, you know, sort of non-electric fuel of the future in the form of hydrogen obviously is something that everyone is now starting to talk about. So I think moving forward, there seems to be, you know, a lot of solutions that can come to the forefront, but it does take time and it does take resolve by, again, the leadership and all the scientists and the policymakers to also work together with other sectors also in the community, because it's not just a decision being made by any one sector or part of the community.
Right, indeed. Well, I saw a very important signal from the presentations previously by the scientists and also by Professor Zhou. It really deals with the 14th five-year plan and whether in the GBA they're going to cap coal. I mean, if we're going to do this, then that's tremendous. So I think we now have Sarah online. Is that right? Hello, Sarah. Hi, Sarah. Sarah.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, thank you for being on with us. I thought perhaps you can share a little bit with us about the IMO, the International Maritime Organization, its decarbonization target, but also we have private sector shipping companies coming together on zero carbon coalition. We have the Poseidon principles, which are really groundbreaking. But how do you see decarbonization and continuing to work on air quality reduction in the maritime sector?
Sure, thanks for that question. So yeah, indeed, IMO has very aggressive goals that they're looking at for decarbonization by 2050. But I see a lot of synergy between the need to reduce conventional air pollutants as well as greenhouse gas emissions. I don't see a trade-off in it. I think they go hand in hand. I think that, you know, on climate, it's definitely a global problem. And so it requires international collaboration. And we're starting to see more and more of that. In the past, on air pollution issues, conventional air pollution issues, it's been more of a regional issue, but we're seeing that we're having more and more international collaborations on that. For example, we're seeing that shipping emissions are having a lot more impact on regional air pollution, and that those are international emissions, and they can't be solved by one particular country. So collaboration is the key, and we are seeing more of that, and we're going to see more of it in the future. And we hope to be able to learn more from folks in Asia and in other countries to share our own experience.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah. And Sarah is in Los Angeles, so thank you for staying up. And we look forward to many more years of collaboration across the Pacific. Well, thank you very much. We will move on to our next pack on green finance.